it kept one of the finest nights, especially when you're up against a KV side and you demolish them, you blow them away. There's no narrow defending or trying to soak it up and hope for the best. And it's a showcase to the rest of Asia on what Johor Darul Takzim can do. If they overcome Guangzhou in the round 16, if they move on to the quarterfinals, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema and company, Johor Darul Takzim is going to come after you. They want the trophy badly, and they will do what it takes with their brains and technical skills, and also their tactics to make sure they get their hands on this to become the first champions of the AFC Champions League Elite. Tahniah Johor Darul Takzim, congratulations to the Southern Tigers for advancing into the knockout stages of the AFC Champions League Elite after what you can say is one of the best games Johor Darul Takzim has played at home, producing a thrilling 5-2 win over Korean side Pohang Steelers. And that second half performance, all the way including the 11 minutes of added time, simply blew the Koreans away, and they had no answer to the host's determination, desire and the prowess to force the game to them and forcing them to commit defensive mistakes in their own area that ultimately allowed them to blow this rather tense encounter apart. And how inside in front of 35,490 people at the Stadium Sultan Ibrahim, how can you that feeling of winning together with their club owner Tunku Ismail, the region of Johor, and it's just simply undescribable, very undescribable. And you can see it's a very thoroughly well-deserved win that sealed their place and also set them up for a round 16 clash with Guangzhou in the next round. And it's an opportunity for the Southern Tigers to gain revenge over what was previously a rather tepid away loss, and think to set things straight before a potential push to the quarterfinals where it's going to be open and they could face a possibility of playing against among them potentially Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr of Saudi Arabia, among others. But still, let's focus on this thrilling finale of the AFC Champions League Elite East Zone League match. Heading into this encounter, Johor almost had one foot into the next round after a 2-1 away win over Central Coast Mariners, and all they needed to do is to draw. But in the first half, you can say it was rather forgettable, and it was once again Hector Bidoglio make a rather unusual formation shift where he had successfully implemented a 3-4-1-2, or you can say 3-4-1-2 formation against the Mariners away in Gosford, Australia. This time he decided to set out in a rather fluid, unusual, you can say 3-1-2-4, I think, sorry, 3-3-2 attacking midfielders to feed Bergson. It was rather a bit unusual because, I mean, even though they had the welcome return of Murillo and Juan Muniz from suspension, where Murillo returns to his favourite left wing back role, and Muniz paired unusually in the attacking midfield role along with Jonathan Vieira, with Nacho Insa the only holding midfielder, and with Arif Aiman on the right with Bergson in support in the middle. And it's back to the same back three pairing that pulled off such a good performance against the Mariners where they held out defensively. The same back three of Jordi Amans on the right centre back, Alvaro Gonzalez, who scored 2 goals against Central Coast Mariners at left centre back, and Israelov in the main centre back in the middle of the three with Zubireta as the goalkeeper. In this kind of formation, there was a little confusion, especially with the two holding two attacking midfielders. While Johor's intent was to go all out and seal the win that would guarantee qualification, even though they had one foot on it, it was far from certain because even though Johor had the early shots, Pohang were actually trying to maximize their weaknesses by putting direct balls and making their forwards and attackers to run behind the rather exposed back three centre back when their flanks are rather exposed, especially when Murillo and Oscar Arribas, they were pushing up from their positions or going further forward when they were lapping, when they were going through the channels. But and ultimately, once again, it's like Johor were dominant, but in the first half, the less said the better actually, because Arif Aiman was disappointingly quiet after he was shoved a few hard tackles by the Korean defense, and he just had minimal to no impact in the final third and in midfield afterwards. It was like him just struggling to get along with the pace of the game, and it did not help that Johor struggled in the first half, especially when they turned over possession quite clumsily a number of times. And one of such turnovers eventually led to the first goal, where their weakness, or their rather, you can see where this Johor side, when they play the ACL Elite, they like to play the ball on the ground, the typical Spanish style of play, and comfortable moving through the different channels, different routes, or whether it's on the wings or going through using the through passes to break away on the free. But the carelessness they had in giving the ball away, especially in midfield, allowed the Koreans to do quick turnovers, and that actually resulted in Pohang taking the lead against the run of play. And even though Oscar Arribas equalized later on, but you can tell the tepidness that was there in the Southern Tigers, that you rather say that with Arif Aiman so anonymous in that period, and Bergson not having the service, and you got Jonathan Vieira in particular struggling to connect the passes with other players going forward who were not of the same wavelength as him, where they were running in a different direction, but he was passing towards a certain angle that where it was intended to be. That confusion between having, like, who is the real playmaker? Is it Jonathan Vieira or Juan Muniz on their side, with Murillo doing his usual you can see lapping roll down the left. It was a game of confusion, and that's where Johor left themselves in a rather vulnerable position. But I think for some reason there was no reason to panic. They did not change any personnel at the break, unlike Pohang, who made 2 substitutions at halftime. So it was like keeping faith with it, but you can tell that there was a significant difference at the start of the second half. Instead of having 2 attacking midfielders doing the same thing, Juan Muniz was pulled further in to be the left side midfielder of a rather flat 4, with Vieira and Nacho Insa in the middle, and with Arif Aiman deeper into the right, and with Bergson still holding on in his centre forward role. And you can see that slight tweak also had an impact also, and you wonder whether TMJ had gone to give a fiery team talk at halftime to fire these boys up, because what we saw was the finest 56 minutes, if I include the 11 minutes of added time, the final 56 minutes to behold when it came to how they played. They were superfluous. They had their intensity was like none other. Even in the previous ACLE games, they wanted to maintain their unbeaten home record, where they already had 2 wins and subsequently produced a 3rd win with 1 draw. And they wanted to show that they could pull off something. And you can see, instead of being a little weak when the balls were running over their heads, they put their bodies on the line. They upped their game by a notch or 2, because they are more than capable of doing it. They showed that their European style play their education that they had, to use all their experience, the knowledge, the education they had to outpace, to outlast, to outbeat the Koreans and the Brazilians in the Pohang squad, to make them fear for their lives on the pitch, and especially in the final third where there were already some frailties in the Pohang defense. And indeed, I think between the 50th to 56, 57 minutes, it's like this pressure, this high intensity pressing and determination to battle, to win at every corner, every area of the pitch, to win the ball, release it quick, get the free guy to break into space to try and score. And you can see that with Bergson and later Arif Aiman pulling the game away with 3-1. And even though Pohang pulled one back with a few minutes to go to make it 3-2, but not exactly a nervy finale, because even as those regular players are tiring, the substitutes who were deployed played their part. Whether it was Obregon, who has been much maligned for much of this campaign, and he's not registered in the league as well, and also Jesse Rodriguez, who has rarely featured in Johor Darul Takzim ever since he signed as a free agent, they played their part, and these two names I mentioned, they contributed the goals. In fact, Herberty also had a goal disallowed due to VAR, but it didn't matter. Even the 11 minutes had produced goals, but it really didn't matter because the Koreans, they were a bit shattered, and it's quite understandable because they came through a 0-4 harrowing loss in the opening game of the K1 Mixed K-League 1 season. And while JDT are already mid-season, even though the number of players who are featuring in this ACL Elite have not even played a single league game. So what we can see is that wavelength, that determination, and you can see that more than 35,000 willing JDT on to victory, to pull the game away. And also you can say even early in the second half, even as Pohang thought, the more you close down the JDT players, the less space you give them, JDT will be made to harry and hassle and just kick the ball anyhow up, lump it up forward or lump it out to touchline to reorganize themselves. But no, you can see even from the defense to the midfield, they had the technical skills. Okay, you want to close me down this space, then I can either make a pass or I will do something to evade that attention, and I will free up more space. And in those two goals from Bergson, Arif Aiman, and subsequently even in the pressing by Jesse Rodriguez, and later that penalty that Obregon won, it was simply outstanding. A fine second half of pure passion, pure skill, pure determination, and pure full-blooded focus, zeroing in on that little spaces that they could master into big spaces in that split second. That ultimately led to JDT winning this game very convincingly by the end of the second half, 5-2. Fabulous win. I mean, you can say so spellbinding, so breathtaking. You can't imagine it any better than that. And that tweak information, that ability to show their European style play where they began to be cleverer, they use their abilities to get past it because they knew that yes, the Koreans are strong, they are hard, they are physical, they have some skill, but they had that brains to outmaneuver these traditional Korean qualities, and that made a main difference. And particularly for Arif Aiman, where in the first 45 minutes he was nowhere. After a few tackles, hacked down, gone. But in the second 45, before he was subbed out, brilliant, really brilliant. Once the goals came in, once he contributed to the assist for Bergson, and once he was more involved in the attacking third of the game, there was no stopping him, no stopping any attacker. Bergson, the determination to come back to the pitch and score after he injured his wrist that required some taping, that also was another factor. So every player played his part. every Southern Tiger did the club badge justice, making the full house, almost full house capacity crowd. It make it one of the finest, greatest nights in Asian club football in Johor that I think we haven't seen in a while, not since 2000 when Johor edged into the round 16 under the old AFC Champions League format, which is now AFC Champions League Elite. But still, it captures all the finest nights, especially when you're up against a heavy side and you demolish them, you blow them away. There's no narrow defending or trying to soak it up and hope for the best. And it's a showcase to the rest of Asia on what Johor Darul Takzim can do. If they overcome Guangzhou in the round 16, if they move on to the quarterfinals, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema and company, Johor Darul Takzim is going to come after you. They want the trophy badly, and they will do what it takes with their brains and technical skills and also their athletics to make sure they get their hands on this to become the first champions of the AFC Champions League Elite. And with that, this is Jericho signing off for Tanya Je at Galapata, Johor, just some distance away from the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium. Take care.